A Navy SEAL once said, "When your mind is telling you you're done, you're really only 40% done." He had a motto: if it doesn't suck, we don't do it. And that was his way of every day, forcing us to get uncomfortable, to figure out what our baseline was and what our comfort level was, and turning it upside down. This is called the 40% rule. For example, in a marathon, most people hit the wall anywhere between mile 16 to 20. 99% of the people that run marathons finish, and predominantly all of them go through this. They hit the wall. So where does that extra 50 or 60% come from? It's their brain saying, "I'm done, I don't want to continue." But their will saying, "You know what? Let me get to the finish line." It's just a matter of how do we apply it, not just with the once-a-year marathon, but to our daily lives and to make it apply to a variety of things. The Stoic mindset. Expanding your mental limits. Have you ever felt like you've hit a wall, whether it's during a workout, at your job, or even in your personal life? What if I told you that this wall is merely an illusion, a barrier that your mind has constructed to test you? When your mind tells you that you're done, you're only about 40% through what you're truly capable of. How can we tap into that hidden 60%? Let's dive in and discover how to push beyond our perceived limits. The 40% rule originates from the tough training regimens of Navy SEALs. The Stoics would argue that our true capacity is much greater than we perceive. They taught that endurance and resilience are not just physical traits, but mental ones. How can we apply this ancient wisdom to break through our mental barriers today? Can you think of a moment when you felt completely overwhelmed, ready to give up? Stoic philosophy encourages us to view these moments as opportunities to strengthen our character and expand our mental capacities. They believed that growth comes through adversity. By training ourselves to push past the initial urge to quit, whether in physical exercise, professional projects, or personal challenges, we begin to tap into that vast reserve of potential that lies beyond the 40% mark. How might changing your reaction to stress and fatigue alter the outcome of your next big challenge? Have you ever considered how the 40% rule could transform your daily routine? Imagine applying this rule each morning. Instead of hitting the snooze button, you push yourself to start the day with a proactive task. It could be as simple as writing in a journal, doing a quick workout, or reading a few pages of a book. This practice can powerfully shift your mindset from avoidance to engagement, training your brain to push past the comfortable to reach the extraordinary. What morning routine could you enhance with the 40% rule? How often do we shy away from challenges because we doubt our capability? To overcome this, the Stoics practiced what they called voluntary discomfort. This could involve physical challenges like cold showers or fasting, or mental challenges like embracing criticism without emotional response. By regularly exposing ourselves to discomfort voluntarily, we can expand our comfort zones. How could incorporating a form of voluntary discomfort into your life help you grow? In your professional life, how do you react to deadlines, criticism, or high-pressure situations? Applying the 40% rule, Stoics would focus on maintaining a rational, calm approach, utilizing reason over emotion. By mentally preparing for these scenarios as exercises in character development, you can transform anxiety into achievement. Next time you face a daunting task, ask yourself, what would a Stoic philosopher do? What role do emotions play in your personal limitations? Stoicism teaches the management of emotions through rational thinking, suggesting that we often give up not because we are physically incapable, but because our emotions overwhelm us. When we feel fear, frustration, or fatigue, applying the 40% rule means taking a step back, assessing our emotions objectively, and pushing forward with reasoned action. Can you recall a time when controlling your emotional response could have changed the outcome of a situation? Do you have a routine that nurtures discipline and growth, or does it confine you to comfort? Stoics advocate for routines that challenge and expand our capabilities. By designing a daily schedule that includes tasks which at first seem too difficult or uncomfortable, we enforce the 40% rule and make room for personal growth. What's one change you could make to your routine to challenge yourself on a daily basis? Stoic power of reflection. How often do you reflect on your daily experiences? Reflection is a powerful Stoic tool that helps integrate the 40% rule into all aspects of life. Stoics practice daily meditation, not only in the form of quiet contemplation, but also through journaling and self-examination. They reviewed their actions and attitudes each day to better understand how they could align more closely with their ideal virtues. By implementing a nightly reflection routine, you too can identify moments when you might have given up at 40% and explore ways to push beyond those moments in the future. What insights could you gain from a daily practice of reflection? Do you draw on the strength of others to surpass your perceived limits? The Stoics, though focused on personal virtue, understood the value of a supportive community. Engaging with a group that challenges and encourages you can dramatically increase your ability to apply the 40% rule. Whether it's a fitness group that pushes you beyond your physical limits or a professional network that challenges your intellectual boundaries, community can be a catalyst for surpassing the barriers we impose on ourselves. How could connecting with others help you tap into the unused 60% of your potential? How do you handle failure? Is it a signal to stop or an invitation to improve? According to Stoic philosophy, failure is a fundamental element of growth. It provides critical insights that are not available through success. By applying the 40% rule to our failures, we begin to see them not as endpoints, but as benchmarks of our current capabilities, signaling where we have room to expand and grow. Each failure is a lesson in disguise, asking us to push further and harder the next time. Can you think of a recent failure that might be reinterpreted as a call to stretch beyond your current limits? What role does learning play in your ability to push past mental barriers? The Stoics were voracious learners, believing that wisdom was the path to virtue and resilience. By engaging with texts that challenge your understanding and expand your perspective, you actively reinforce the 40% rule. Choose books that confront your preconceptions and ideologies, and you'll equip yourself with new strategies to break through your mental barriers. What book could you read that would challenge your current mindset? Have you ever visualized achieving beyond what you believe is possible? Visualization is a technique used by modern athletes and professionals, and it aligns well with Stoic practices of premeditation, envisioning future challenges and preparing mentally to face them. By regularly visualizing yourself pushing past the 40% barrier in various aspects of your life, you can cultivate a mental habit that primes you for actual performance. How might visualization change your approach to challenges? How do you approach big goals and projects? The Stoics advocated for approaching life one step at a time, focusing on the process rather than the outcome. This method is perfectly suited for the 40% rule, as it encourages seeing each small step as an opportunity to extend beyond what we thought was our limit. By breaking down tasks into smaller, manageable pieces, each with its own 40% beyond perception, you can steadily expand your capacity in astonishing ways. What large goal could you start approaching incrementally today? What fears hold you back from reaching your full potential? Stoic philosophy teaches that courage is not the absence of fear, but the will to overcome it. Applying the 40% rule means facing these fears directly and moving forward despite them. Whether it's public speaking, taking on a new responsibility, or entering a new social circle, every act of courage expands your mental reservoir. How could embracing Stoic courage transform your personal and professional life? Enhance focus. Do you view your long-term goals as marathons or sprints? Stoicism promotes the concept of endurance as a key virtue, essential for achieving significant life goals. By applying the 40% rule to long-term pursuits, we learn to persist when progress seems slow and to maintain our effort even when the end is not in sight. This endurance is not just about pushing through fatigue, but also about sustaining motivation over time. How might viewing your long-term goals through the lens of Stoic endurance change your approach to achieving them? How often do you reflect on past barriers and what they've taught you? Stoic reflection isn't just about daily contemplation, but also involves looking back to understand how previous challenges were navigated. By applying the 40% rule retrospectively, you can see instances where you might have given more, learning from these moments to push harder in the future. This form of reflection can transform feelings of regret into powerful lessons for future growth. What past barrier could you reevaluate today to find new opportunities for improvement? How often do you engage in deep, meaningful conversations that challenge your perceptions? Stoics valued dialogue as a way to examine life's deeper questions and to test one's understanding against the views of others. By entering conversations that push you beyond your comfort zone, applying the 40% rule to your intellectual and emotional engagement, you can uncover insights and perspectives that were previously out of reach. Who could you engage in a Stoic dialogue with to deepen your understanding and push your mental boundaries? How disciplined are your daily decisions? Stoicism teaches that discipline is not just for the big moments, but is crucial in the small, everyday choices we make. Each decision to push past the 40% threshold in our daily tasks reinforces our overall resilience and capability. This could be choosing a healthier meal option, deciding to walk instead of drive, or even opting to tackle a more challenging project at work. How could increasing your daily discipline transform your ability to overcome mental barriers? Do you find joy in overcoming challenges, or do you dread them? Stoics found deep fulfillment in overcoming difficulties, seeing each challenge as a chance to practice virtue and strengthen character. By applying the 40% rule, you can start to view challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities for joy and personal growth. Each time you surpass your perceived limits, you not only prove your capabilities, but also enhance your capacity for happiness. What challenge could you reframe as an opportunity for joy today? Pursuit of goals. How often do you allow impatience to dictate your progress? Stoic philosophy emphasizes the importance of patience, not only as a virtue, but as a strategic approach to life's challenges. Applying the 40% rule to this aspect of Stoicism involves recognizing that much of our potential remains untapped due to our haste to see immediate results. By cultivating patience, we allow ourselves the time necessary to progressively move beyond our perceived limits and deeply ingrained habits. How might developing more patience enhance your ability to utilize the remaining 60% of your capacity? How often do you reflect on the wisdom of your decisions? Stoic philosophy values wisdom as the chief virtue from which all other virtues flow. By applying the 40% rule to our decision-making processes, we challenge ourselves to think beyond conventional choices and consider deeper, more thoughtful options that might initially seem more demanding or less appealing. This approach encourages a broader evaluation of potential outcomes and their alignment with our long-term goals. What decision could you reevaluate today with a Stoic perspective to ensure it truly reflects your potential? How do you react under pressure or in adverse conditions? Stoics propose that true resilience is built in the face of adversity, through deliberate practice and enduring discomfort. The 40% rule applied here means when you think you can't endure anymore, that's exactly when you need to step up and push forward. This practice not only strengthens our resilience but also expands our understanding of our own limits. What adverse condition could you approach as an opportunity to practice Stoic resilience and extend your limits? Are you fully present in the moment, or are you often distracted? Stoicism and the 40% rule both encourage a deep engagement with the present, advocating mindfulness as a tool to surpass our mental barriers. By being fully present, we are better able to gauge our actual limits versus perceived limits imposed by distractions or past experiences. Mindfulness in this context helps us push further in our efforts, whether in work, training, or personal development. How could practicing mindfulness help you surpass the 40% threshold in your daily activities? Continual learning. How committed are you to lifelong learning? In Stoic philosophy, the pursuit of knowledge is endless. The Stoics believed that to live a virtuous life, one must constantly seek wisdom. By integrating the 40% rule with a commitment to continual learning, you challenge yourself to always push beyond comfort zones in your intellectual pursuits. Whether it's mastering a new skill, exploring a challenging philosophical concept, or simply reading broadly, learning extends your mental capacities far beyond the superficial 40% threshold. What new area of knowledge could you explore to push your limits? Do you take time to reflect on your mental fortitude? Stoicism teaches that self-reflection is crucial in understanding and overcoming personal limitations. By applying the 40% rule to your reflective practices, you can uncover deeper insights into your own behaviors, thought patterns, and responses to challenges. This could involve journaling, meditation, or even structured debriefs of your day's activities. How could enhanced self-reflection help you break through the barriers that your mind sets? How adaptable are you to change? Stoicism places a strong emphasis on the virtue of adaptability, being able to adjust your plans, expectations, and efforts according to shifting circumstances. Applying the 40% rule here means recognizing that when faced with change, you're often only at the beginning of understanding and adjusting to new dynamics. By embracing change rather than resisting it, you can harness it as a force for growth. What recent change in your life could be an opportunity to practice Stoic adaptability? How do you manage stress and anxiety? The Stoics offered a variety of techniques to cope with the stresses of life, including the practice of distinguishing between what we can control and what we cannot. Applying the 40% rule to stress management suggests that often, our initial response to stress only scratches the surface of our capacity to cope and adapt. By deepening your Stoic practices, such as focusing only on your actions and attitudes, you can significantly improve your resilience. What stress or anxiety could you manage more effectively with Stoic techniques? Stoic persistence for long-term success. How do you maintain momentum over long periods? Stoicism teaches the value of persistence, staying the course even when progress seems slow or invisible. By integrating the 40% rule with Stoic persistence, you push yourself to continue striving even when initial enthusiasm wanes. This can apply to personal goals like fitness, learning a new language, or long-term professional projects. Each day, by doing a little more than you feel capable of, you cultivate a resilience that builds over time. What long-term project requires more of your persistent effort right now? How do you handle emotional attachments that cloud your judgment? Stoicism promotes a type of detachment that isn't about being unfeeling, but about maintaining objectivity. Applying the 40% rule to emotional responses allows you to reassess situations from a place of calm and clarity, pushing past initial reactions to find more reasoned, thoughtful responses. This can be particularly useful in high-stress environments or in navigating complex personal relationships. How might practicing Stoic detachment improve your decision-making processes? How often do you find your focus wavering? Stoics advocate for practices that enhance concentration, such as setting clear, concise daily objectives and minimizing distractions. By applying the 40% rule to your focus, you challenge yourself to maintain deeper levels of concentration for longer than usual. This could involve techniques like timed work intervals or technology fasts to train your mind to focus more effectively. What task could benefit from improved concentration and how will you achieve it? How do you react when faced with new challenges? Stoic courage isn't about recklessness but about facing the unknown with confidence and a prepared mind. When you apply the 40% rule to new challenges, it means acknowledging the fear or discomfort they bring, but proceeding anyway, trusting in your capacity to adapt and learn. Whether it's a new job role, a complex project, or a difficult conversation, how can Stoic courage help you go beyond your comfort zone? How do you balance pushing yourself with taking care of yourself? Stoicism teaches the importance of self-care as a foundation for any challenge. Applying the 40% rule doesn't mean driving yourself into the ground, but finding the balance where you can consistently push your limits while also respecting your body and mind's needs for rest and recuperation. This approach prevents burnout and maintains a sustainable pace towards growth. What changes can you make to better balance self-care with self-challenge? How frequently do you practice gratitude? Stoics believe in the power of gratitude to transform one's perspective on life. By applying the 40% rule to your practice of gratitude, you push yourself to find more to be thankful for, even in challenging or mundane situations. This can dramatically shift your mood, your day, and ultimately your life, as you focus more on what you have than on what you lack. How can increasing your daily gratitude practice help you surpass your perceived limits? Remember that the journey to surpassing our mental barriers is continuous. Each day offers new challenges and opportunities to apply these principles, testing our limits and expanding our capabilities. The combination of Stoic wisdom and the 40% rule isn't just a technique but a lifestyle choice, a commitment to constantly pushing beyond the ordinary in pursuit of the extraordinary. Embrace these teachings as you face both the mundane and the monumental in your life. Let the Stoics' enduring wisdom guide you in not only meeting your challenges, but in redefining them, transforming obstacles into stepping stones towards greater personal and communal growth. How will you live beyond the 40% starting today? How will you inspire those around you to discover their own untapped potential?